Hello everybody, it's Miss Darling in the studio. Welcome, and this is where you'll get not only great ideas and how-to demonstrations, but professional graphic design tips. So you'll wind up loving everything you make and know the do's and don'ts and make better decisions on composition, placement, and design. And I think that's just really important. So I thought it was about time I got back to making a junk journal. And so that's the project for today. It's going to be a small one, something that you could easily fit into a handbag and won't be real bulky either, and give a person plenty of space to journal in it, because it's going to wind up having 48 pages. And let me quickly show you an example of what I'm talking about. I made this some while ago. I'm going to do something much more feminine and girly today, but it's going to be patterned after this. And so you can see that it has a fabric cover on the front and back and has end pages, and then there's all these coffee dyed pages in the middle. Whether I'll use coffee dyed pages or maybe just some white pages that are embellished a bit, I haven't decided yet. But anyway, you can see that it is small, it's not real thick, it's lightweight, and a person could easily stick this in a large handbook and have a journal with them at all times. So this is our goal today. We'll see how far we get. Now, I started with an Amazon mailer and I cut it down to size. Well, the first thing I did was I opened it up so it was half the thickness, and then I cut it down to size. And by size, I mean we're looking at a height of around 6 inches and a width of about 5¼ inches. Not quite 5½ inches. Well, maybe 5½ 5½ inches doubled, and then you got 6 inches in your height, and that's our goal. So I took one of the halves of the mailer that I got and cut it to the size I wanted, and then I decided, even though there's some padding in there, I wanted a little bit more, and so I cut off a piece of cheesecloth and sewed around the perimeter and then sewed down the middle to hold it in place. So there's going to be a little bit more, I mean, it's going to be very flexible, and you can hear the crinkling of the paper that Amazon uses in their mailers, but it'll have a little more softness as well. And we're going girly, so I decided to use this pretty little fabric on the outside, and I cut it about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch larger all the way around than what my envelope is. And that's so that when I glue it all down and bring it on to the inside, I will have a generous seam allowance to work with. And so we're going to do that. And then this is a copy board from a master board. I filmed myself making this a few days ago, but have not edited that video. But this is a copy board off of that master board, which I thought was just girly enough and would suit my purposes. So I cut off the edges, and I'm going to be using this on the interior. But let's get back to the cover. And so that's what you need. Now, you don't have to use an Amazon envelope. You could, just cut out an appropriate size piece of cardstock and use that, or you can glue several sheets of paper together to get some thickness. And the cheesecloth is optional, and So, you know, it's up to you. So now we're ready at this point to go ahead and glue the fabric in place. And I want to make sure this is, let's see, that's going to be my up, and I want my flowers to mostly head upward. So we're going to glue it like that, and let's just make sure that I've got it reasonably centered. And I think I'll do a little clamping down to hold it in place, because I'm just going to glue one side at a time. So I've got my fabric glue here all ready to go, and so here we go. By the way, if you find this video of interest and of value to you, take a moment right now while I'm gluing and give it a like, and you know, even make a comment, ask a question, whatever. If you're not a subscriber yet, I hope you'll subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified of my future videos, and I'll be delighted to have you join me. And so I want to press this down good, not only to get good adhesion, but to get rid of those wrinkles that are there, so we don't have to worry about them anymore. And now we'll do the other side. I hope you're all doing well today, wherever you are in the world. I wish you peace, happiness, and all the success you can handle. Forgot to set my timer as usual, so I'll have to keep an eye, make sure I don't run out of time. All right. Okay, now we're going to pull our fabric to the inside, and I like to do the corners first. And then I'm going to work on the shorter side first. Probably doesn't really matter which side you go for first, but and just kind of tip this up on its end. Well, it's a little bit flimsy for doing that, so I think we'll just fold it over. Doesn't matter if anything is uneven at this point because we're going to be covering that over with our end papers. Okay, you can see what we have. Let's see. I believe this is my front here. Okay, now we want to cover this inside. And I'm going to cut these into two pieces so that I can get the coverage I want. Well, let's see if I cut this in half. That will be just about perfect. So I'll use that one on the left side and this one on the right side, and we're pretty much good to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the end paper and then position it as best I can onto the cover rather than the other way around. It's real important to get the edges nicely sealed down and the corners. You can see how nicely this size works in terms of, I really just cut an 8.5 by 11 sheet that I had copied the masterboard on, just cut it in two, and it makes the perfect size to cover this. And so we'll do the other side now. See how quickly and easily this is going together. Now it's more important to position this as close to the outside as possible, because we're going to cover up the middle after we get this done. So this part's not going to show, but we want to make sure that we've done a good job of covering up as much of the inside out here as possible. So now I used this particular lace right here in my masterboard, and I think I'm just going to run a piece of that down the middle and call it a day. I usually like to kind of go a little bit above and a little bit below the height of the journal. I don't mind if a little bit sticks out. I think that just kind of adds to the personality. And so I'm going to drop that. Let's just clamp this in place to make sure I don't get off center. There's my center. And we'll just glue down the top half first. Okay, I'm going to stop this and start another clip. Be right back. By the way, I have lots of resources in my Etsy shop if you have a need for resources. And also check the description box below each video, which will provide you with links to some of the products or tools that I use in each particular journal, or each particular video, I should say. All right. So there we have our front, our back, and our inside. And so now what are we going to do on the front cover? I found an old watercolor painting that I did several years ago when I was taking a class in watercolor, and here's what reminds of it. And I decided to cut out part of the image to use on the cover, and so I'm proposing to do that. And to help me decide where best to make my cuts, I made myself an acrylic template out of the acrylic sheeting that I keep on hand, so that I could place this down and move it around and decide exactly where the best placement was going to be. And this is what I came up with. Now, what I also am envisioning, I thought I would take some of the same cheesecloth and perhaps maybe put it in there on an angle. Maybe throw in a little bit more lace. You know, something like that. I kind of like that. Do I need something at the top? It's more of the same. Yeah, I kind of like that. I did, after I cut it, I did ink around the perimeter to give it a little more vintage vibe. And so I think I'm going to do this. I think I will just wrap this on around to the inside. Now you don't have to wrap things around to the inside. You can surely trim them off and, you know, be a little more pristine. But I like the naturalness of, you know, just bringing it on over, and I've got plenty of the same type of lace and stuff in the image anyway. It to me it just blends right in, and most people probably won't even notice it. All right, did I get everything? I think I did. Okay, so now we're there, and now this will drop in there. So I'm not going to have time in this video. I have decided to make my videos shorter because it's very time consuming to edit and upload really lengthy videos, and I've noticed through my analytics that a lot of people don't watch the whole thing, and so it becomes a little bit wasted time and effort on my part to put instruction and design tips and demonstrations out there that aren't even being seen. So I'm going to go with shorter videos, but more of them. And so obviously we've only got the cover done in this video. So in part 2 we will add the pages and finish it up. And this looks a little messy back here, so I think I better trim that off after all. So I'm going to do it while it's still, well, I can still pull it off. Alright, I hope you like it so far. I am pleased with how it's coming along and eager to finish it up and have something really dainty and cute that is custom and original. There will never be another one like it anywhere in the world. If for no other reason than nobody has my painting. Yeah, so I wasn't 100% happy with what I had done earlier, so I attached some lace on the end to cover over the edge of the decoration on the front cover. And then I made this little tassel out of some of the same fabric and some rickrack and ribbon, and tied it up and then sewed it on. And then I took some of the threads from the fabric and some of the cheesecloth and little piece of the fabric and glued here and put this little number sign on. And then with, what is this? Enamel accents. This is, color is black tie. And they're not dry yet, so I don't want to touch them. And put those on there to look like little washers or nuts and bolts and, on the signage. So that's what we've got going on. The reverse side, there's a little bit of the lace that comes back here, but I'm not going to do anything else to the back cover. And so this is the final of what the cover's going to be like. And then in my next video, part 2, we will add the pages in and attach them and all that good stuff. And then I have a special closure I'm going to put on, and I'll show you that in part 2. So thanks for sticking with me. Hope you enjoyed this. Give it a like and subscribe if you're not already, and be sure and hit the notification bell so that you're notified of the next video, part 2, and any other videos I create. And that's it for now. This is Miss Darling calling this a wrap. Bye-bye.